We're back to the Neil Haley Show and also the Media Giant Effect. I'm excited to welcome the program Vladimir Chen. Vladimir, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And our topic we're going to talk about, oh man, is insecurities. Being insecure is probably a thing that keeps us from growing further. I have a story. At one point in time in my business, I didn't think I was worth what I charged at the beginning in my career. And I did that in many different aspects because of just when I grew up and my thought process, and that changed. But that insecurity kept me from growing to where I want to grow. And now I don't have that insecurity anymore. So they become insecurities. Are they defense mechanisms for us to feel less pain? What do you think? Why do we have these insecurities? And is it kind of just protecting us in a way, but it's really just not healthy?
Yeah, Neil, it's definitely it's a defense mechanism. Our brains, they like to keep us protected, or they're protecting us. The way I look at it is that, you know, it all comes down to basically what we're thinking. You know, what we're doing is based on what we're feeling. What we're feeling is based on what we're thinking. And if you look at sort of the most granular level, our thoughts can be useful or unuseful. Sometimes I call it, helpful or unhelpful. And basically, our insecurities are a waste of our time and energy, because those are really illusion-based and fear-based. When we're projecting into the future, we're basically trying to create, because our brain's trying to protect us, we're trying to create that certainty for ourselves. And that certainty basically is an illusion, because nothing is certain in the future. What's certain is in the now, right? That's what we call sometimes now, here and now. And the same goes for the past. When we look at the past, what we've done, we start to regret, we start to have regretful thoughts. And that's what makes us feel small. And we start to feel ashamed of things, and we start to regret things, and we start to beat and criticize ourselves. So all of that is basically our insecurities, and they are preventing us from moving forward. They're basically standing in our way. We are standing in our way.
How do we get rid of those insecurities? You have some tips for us.
Right. And that's the thing that, before I also looked at it this way. How do I get rid of insecurities, right? What do I do? How do I take charge or control of this? And to a certain degree, we can control or navigate or guide, or I would even say direct, because at the end of the day, it's the energy thought, right? And we are not really, at least all of the time, or 100% of the time, we're not in charge of everything that we're thinking, because that will be our full-time job if we try to control everything we're thinking. Because thoughts are just, as a transit energy, they're flowing in and they're flowing out if we let and allow for it. But if we try to control it, right, it's the same as don't think pink elephant, right? We always think pink elephant. So what we're doing instead, we're basically, as monks, as meditators, as yoga instructor, like what we're doing, we're allowing for that transit energy to pass, right? And then we can, reframe, we can start thinking visionary thoughts, start creating plans, putting intention in place, so that we start taking action towards what it is that we want to create in our lives.
How do we know when the insecurities pop up in our brains? Because they subconsciously come, and then consciously we finally figure it out and it's too late.
I love this question, Neil. It's what it boils down to. That's the sort of the journey of our self-discovery and awareness, or self-awareness. Because once we understand, oh, really, I'm actually getting caught up in those insecure thoughts, that's when we created that awareness or self-awareness. Because that's the first step. That's the bridging point that we all need to have in order to start doing something about it. Or sometimes in most of the cases, we don't need to do anything about it, because we are worrying too much. And so what it boils down to is just to really start creating awareness. And feelings are a feedback mechanism, Neil. When we are feeling something, it's basically telling us directly what it is that we are thinking in that moment. If we're feeling, for example, frustrated or anxiety, that means that we are basically entertaining unconsciously those anxious or frustrating thoughts. And if we're in them, that's what we're feeling. But if we want to do something about it, let's say, if it's just worry, something that I'm thinking about in the future, all I need to do is just to recognize, okay, I'm getting caught up in this worrisome thought. What do I need to do about it? If there is something to do, then let's do something about it. Let's whatever, come up with a plan, create it, set an intention. But if we don't, because the brain is trying to do its thing, it's trying to create that certainty, then all we need to do is just allow and let it pass.
That's a great thing to think about. Let it pass. Then insecurity. Have you seen, and this is the last question, this is such great information, people that have insecurities about the future?
Oh yeah, this is and today, nowadays, right? This is something that we all worry about. We're thinking about what may happen in the future, how this may unfold. Organizational changes happen. Am I going to be fired? Yeah, definitely. Insecurities. In fact, when we start thinking about the future, the first thing we will think about, or we will have, is basically have insecurities. I mean, it could also be, positive thinking, or thinking like visionary thinking, strategic thinking, right? Intentional thinking. But if it's something that, brains just wanders away, then that's when we start most certainly feel insecure about.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Vladimir. Where can people find information on you and really talk to you about these things? Because I guess really everyone has some sort of insecurities that they need to try to squash. Where can they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's nimbuscoaching.com. And if you go to my website, you can download, I have a few things for free there. And you can also read some information about what I do and how I help people get or be at their best most of the time.
Thanks, Vladimir. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Neil.
You're welcome. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.